Welcome to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
Boy K Finks.
And we are back, man. Episode 366.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Let's get right into it. First of all, rest in peace, George Foreman.
Yeah, man.
You know, George Foreman obviously was a heavyweight champion and boxer for many, many years. But I think that his second career was just as good or better than his boxing career. He went from knocking niggas out to grilling burgers.
Yeah.
Like, how do those two things even coexist? You know, going from socking people to making patties. Like, God bless him. And I remember seeing a lot of those infomercials as a kid with George Foreman. He was like, all right, guys, I got these burgers, and I'm going to put them on the pan here. And what you do is when you put the grill on it, and all the grease just comes on out of there. You see the grease coming out of there? That's some good burgers right there. My wife loves it when I make a couple of the patties and put it on there. So we get a little, all right, there we go. I put some onions on it, and that you dress it up, and there you go. A George Foreman burger. All right, guys, if you want to order the burgers now, just go on and dial the toll-free number, 1-800-GEORGE. All right, now, thank you.
Yeah. George, I think the interesting part about his career was he was, during his era, he was, it was him and Muhammad Ali. And really just him, he was like the best heavyweight, boxer in the world. And then when he does the George Foreman grills in his kind of post-boxing career, it kind of like humanizes him. But at the time, he was like the most fierce heavyweight in the world. So, I think a lot of people forget that he was just such a dominant boxer, one of the hardest punching, heavyweights probably ever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Rest in peace to George Foreman, man.
Yeah, people forget about his comeback that he had. He came back, it says...
a little heavier.
Yeah, he came back looking like Homer Simpson, but he's knocking niggas out. 10 years later...
because he had... Oh, sorry, I'll let you go.
No, yeah, because he came back in the 90s. 10 years later, he announced a comeback, and in 94, at age 45, won the unified WBA, IBF, and lineal heavyweight championship titles by knocking out 26-year-old Michael Moore. And Michael Moore was good. He dropped the WBA belt rather than face his mandatory title defense soon. The following, a single successful title defense against Axel Schultz. Yeah, man. George Foreman came back. I had his video game in the 90s. It was like 96. Yeah. But it was George Foreman boxing. Yeah. It was a hell of a game, man.
Yeah, I think he needed some money. Didn't he run out of money or something like that? And he needed to come back.
I think he had some financial problems, but he sure the fuck didn't after that.
Yeah, after the Foreman grill. There's a movie that they made. I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it was okay.
You know what's funny about this? What's funny? Not funny about his death, obviously, but the people listening to this podcast, if you don't have a George Foreman grill, you've had one. If you don't have one. Now you've had one, or your mom had one, or your cousin has one. The George Foreman grill just became synonymous with indoor grilling. Yeah. Which is, amazing. And I've had a multitude of George Foreman grills. I have one now, but the best one I had actually was about 10 years ago. It was older. I got it from the Goodwill. I got it from the thrift store. And I was like, fuck it, I'll get something to grill my burgers. And it was huge. It was like the first, I won't say prototype, but it was like the first rollout of George Foreman grills. It had two sides to it, right? It had one side, it had another. It was shaped like a clam, but it was fucking huge. And it said George Foreman Grilling. It looked like a Sega Genesis on steroids, right? Yeah. But it had the flap where you opened it up. And it grilled the best burgers, man. Yeah. It tasted almost like it was charbroiling them, bro. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember I had one. That's kind of how you learn how to cook as a teenager.
Absolutely.
You experiment a little bit, throw some chicken on there or hamburgers, whatever the case. And then the one we had the part on the top where you could toast the bread. Ooh. So it had the grill. It was a smaller one, but it had the grill underneath, and then it had the little top part where you could toast the bread on there. So yeah, make your little hamburger, go crazy.
Yeah, what I did, especially when I was just trying to get more lean protein, I would take the pre-cut strips and I put them on the George Foreman grill. And the grill that I had didn't have a temperature setting though, which was weird. It didn't have like a high or a low. It just had George. That was the only fucking setting it had. And I put it on there, and after a while, it will cook the chicken strips evenly. So usually with chicken breasts, if you cook them on medium high for like 6.5, maybe 6 minutes. on each side, they're done. But on the George Foreman grill, it's cooking both. There's grills on each side. You know what I'm saying?
So it cooks it faster.
Yeah, one at the bottom, one at the top. So what I would do is add 1 extra minute. It'd be 7 minutes just to ensure that it was proper temperature. And then I let it sit, you know, because you can't just cut chicken breast as soon as it's done. It's going to be dry as fuck. You got to let it sit for a little bit and cool down slightly. Then you cut into it. And man.
You know what George Foreman should have did? He should have transitioned to the air fryers.
Ooh.
I think that would have changed the game.
That would have been nuts.
Because he already had that branding.
Yes.
Like the George Foreman grill, but throw it in with the George Foreman air fryer. Just throw his name on there.
He just did the same, you know,
Right.
the same cheesy branding from the 90s. And like, hey, everybody, get the George Foreman air fryer. It's a knockout punch.
Oh, that's, for sure. Yeah.
It's like, what I do here, if I want to eat a healthy meal, I just get some potatoes and throw it in my George Foreman air fryer. It's a left hook to the jaw.
That would have been the one.
Oh, man.
That was funny.
He's like, oh, these potatoes are amazing. Feels like a kidney shot. Yeah, man. Yeah, so rest in peace to George, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to drag it on. Just let's make sure we thank George Foreman, because without him, a lot of us would not be eating healthier. That's just the God's honest truth. That's not to put out some cheesy message. I have a George Foreman grill right now.
Yeah.
You know, it takes away all the work as well. If you just want to get some burgers and throw them in there and let them do their thing, all you got to do is get the buns ready, you know, get whatever toppings you want on there, and then boom.
Yep.
Yeah. But there's that, man.
Also, George was famous for naming like 5 of his sons George.
Yes, all George. I seen a comedian crack a joke on that. He said George was a genius for that. At first, I thought he was a dumbass, but he's like, imagine you name all your kids George, and, you know, your wife says George, and you just stand there. And then finally she's like, I'm talking to you. He's like, oh, I thought you was talking to the kids.
Yeah.
And he has a daughter named Georgina as well.
Got a Georgetta. George Foreman Jr. He got Frida Foreman. He got George Foreman the third.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's George Foreman the fourth. He got a Leola Freeman, Natalie Foreman. George, they call him Big Will. Then there's a George Red Foreman the fifth. God dang. George Little Joey Foreman, the sixth, and then I think that's all they had on that.
How many kids he have?
I think it's at 12.
Niggas should have had some George Foreman condoms. God damn.
These are George Foreman condoms.
Yeah, you could grill your dick.
You can tired of grilling your dick?
These condoms, you could put some roasted onions on them. Make you some black beef. Have you ever grilled a BBC before?
Oh, damn.
Oh, man.
There's some good protein.
There's good protein here. Some good protein. George Foreman was like a mix between like Shannon Sharp and Charles Barkley. He's like a blend of both of those guys.
He's from Texas, man. Got that accent.
Yeah. He's like, whenever I'm sitting back in my house, I love me a good old steamed burger. All right, guys. Call 1-800-GEORGE. All right, rest in peace, George. Let's go ahead and move on. Switching gears. A man nearly suffers a heart attack after going through his girl's phone. There's not a whole bunch of context to it, but his girlfriend posted a picture of him sitting in a gurney and going through like a major anxiety attack, and she thought it was funny. But here's the thing, man. I just don't, especially in 2025, I don't see the point of people being in relationships if you're hiding things in your phone. For one, also, I think that we exhaust the narrative that we should never go through someone's phone, right? And I think that's a lie. I'm going to say this. I don't think you should just be going through a phone. However, if you're sitting there and your girlfriend asks for your phone, give her the phone. If your boyfriend asks for your phone, give him the phone. And the reason why I say that is, imagine this. If you're going to have a child with that person, if you're going to marry that person, that's a huge responsibility. That's more of a responsibility than giving somebody your phone. Right? There are things in people's phones right now that if their partner knew it, they would fucking leave them. Like, imagine this, right? Imagine you find this girl. She's great. She's super smart. She's funny. She's super respectful and everything. And then one day, you're like, you know what? She went to the bathroom. She left her phone. I'm going to swipe through it. But you go to like her text messages, right? And you swipe all the way to like to the bottom, right? All the way to the bottom. And as soon as you click the message, you just see a BBC in there. You're like, God damn. And you're like, hey, look, who is this? Why? And she's like, why are you going through my phone? I don't understand. If she's more mad that you went through her phone than explaining why there's a BBC in her phone and why it's bigger than mine. Why is this big penis in your phone? This is not right. Okay? If you're mad at me for wanting to point that out, then I don't think we should be together anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, well, that's right when we met. I don't understand why you're tripping. And it's like, why is it still in your phone? It's like, that's my business. No. No, you can't do that. I think the biggest issue with this, we'll make this a general issue, not just women. People think they could get in a relationship and just do what they want. You can't do what you want anymore. That ship is fucking sailed. Yeah. And if you guys want to get with somebody and do what you want, then just stay single. A lot of you guys, I think people want their cake. You know, they want their, I hate that saying, though. I don't want to use that. Say you want your cake and eat it too. Why the fuck would I get a cake if I couldn't eat it?
Yeah, some of those cliches don't make sense.
Yeah, that's not a good cliche. You know, I think a better cliche is like people want their cake and they want another cake. Right? Now you're just a greedy motherfucker. You want two cakes. Yeah. Now the cliche makes more sense, or the idiom or the saying. But yeah, man, don't do this. I just think if whatever's in your phone, this is for guys too, man. Just don't sneak around, man. Just stop it. But am I against going through the phone? I'm not. I'm genuinely not against going through it. If you have a curiosity, it will save you time. It will save you time if you find some shit that shouldn't be in there. Because either way, you're gonna find out. Like you might be ready to go, and I don't know. You know, you're at the mall. You guys had a good dinner, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm about to marry this woman. I'm about to propose right now." And then before you propose, like her phone falls on the ground, and then it opens up, and it's a BBC on there. You're like, God damn! I'm on my knee looking at your phone, and there's a BBC. This ain't right. I got to stand up. Put your phone away. Yeah. Anyway.
No. Yeah. I agree. I think it's always going to reveal itself. You know, I don't think people could get away with cheating too long just because there's always going to be some sort of signs, and people get. It's like crime, and we'll talk about some crime a little later. But it's no matter how hard or how diligent you think you are, there's always going to be these breadcrumbs that you leave behind. Whether it's the way you kind of maneuver with your phone or whatever the case may be, that kind of shows different signs, or just how you see people move and stuff like that. But I think also like if you look for something hard enough, you're gonna find it. I think the difference nowadays than like maybe like I guess the thing that I'm trying to say is that we have a lot of access, right? So if you're a person that's like just getting into a relationship, you maybe you like recently got into a relationship, you got Tinder, you got Snapchat, right? You got Instagram, you got Twitter, you got Facebook, you got maybe just straight text messages and phone calls and stuff like that. So there's like a million different avenues where like people could like communicate with you. So say for example, you get in a relationship and you like, man, you're not actually doing nothing, but at the same time, like you might have been flirting with some guy on Twitter however many months, years ago before you started talking to this new person. And or also like on Instagram, you was talking to some guy for a little bit or exchanging or responded to somebody's story or something like that. Like, so there's like a history of like your conversations like spread throughout like the internet and stuff like that. So I say that to say if your boyfriend, if your girlfriend, fiance, whatever, was talking to some guy like X amount of years ago, if you're going to like if you're like going and looking for that, I think that's a little OD. But like you said, if it's like if your girl go to the bathroom and then it's just like some nigga named Marcus like pop up like with a random like emoji or something like that, then that's how you know it's
and
like
women be storing the names in the phone, like they be having specifics. They be like Marcus BBC very good. You be like, dang.
Marcus BBC 9 out of 10.
Oh man. No, I'd be like Marcus Soul Snatcher. Like, this is crazy. I think there needs to be a conversation had, man. Like if you start feeling a chick, you guys are feeling each other and it's getting serious, I would just tell her, and I would say this without any like rudeness or anything. I'd be like, hey, I just want to let you know, whatever you have in your phone is none of my business right now. But just do your due diligence to disconnect and cut off those contacts, because I don't want that shit to become a problem. You know, that's like you either gotta say that or you gotta like make it known. Because here's the issue: you could meet a woman that's dope, right? But she's been able to do the same thing in every relationship. At some point, as a man, you got to lay the law down. Not like you're trying to control her to say, hey, if you have anything that could be a threat to this relationship, I would respect it if you got it off your phone. I think that's fair.
Yeah, especially when it's starting to get serious.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say.
I think above all, you should just like put it on paper, because there's like that gray period before you're like really like boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. Like it's not necessarily official yet.
Yep.
Where, you know, as girl, boy, you're probably still talking to some other people at the same time. So, yes, that's important to have those conversations.
Yeah, there's too much sneaky stuff going on. I've seen so many sneaky things in my life. Not only that I've seen, because I told Keith before the pod, I've looked through a phone 2 times each time I found something. And after that point, when I got that feeling where I needed to look, I was just like, I can't. I'm not doing that. At this point, I know something's around. Something is afoot, right? So yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I didn't see any cocks or anything like that.
Yeah,
but I did see some conversations, and I didn't keep swiping long enough because there probably would have been a cock in there. And like, good morning, and then all of a sudden a cock
just meat
up in there. Yeah, it's like, geez, man, what is this? Yeah, but
yeah,
I was gonna say something else too. I just think there's so many things that are happening in today's culture that you would never know. And I'll say this. When I'm just talking about sheer sneakiness, right? Years ago, I was working at a place. I will not say what that place is, but I was working at a place. And there was 3 coworkers. Actually, there was 4 in total. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. There was 4 coworkers in total that had went out of town to somewhere. It was like some event, right? And there was 2 girls. And then there was 1 girl that was in the back with this male coworker. And on the way back, that female coworker that was in the back seat, dude that I know, started smashing her in the back seat while the 2 women in the front was driving, acting like nothing was happening. No lie. Then, here's the crazy part. Then after that, there was a like an employee party, right? And the dude that was smashing one of the girls, she was at that party with her man, and that dude was at the party just drinking a beer. Just like nobody would know. He was just so unassuming.
Dang.
Right? But this dude was and the 2 girls that were driving, one was driving, one was in the front seat. They was just chilling while their friend was getting murdered in the back seat. They were at the party too.
Dang.
And that's when I was just like, yo,
it's
a cold world, nigga.
It's a cold world.
It's a cold world. Oh, man.
That's sad.
It's a cold motherfucking world, bro.
I wonder how that setup was. Like, all right, babe, I'm about to go out to Las Vegas with my friends.
Yeah, you never would have known.
And this nigga just hop in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the back seat, riding D. And the 2 friends is just like chilling. That's why, here's another thing too. And I'm not trying to blame men, but I think it's important that you stay an upstanding guy. Even if you're a good dude, you can't get treated wrong regardless. If you're a good woman or a good man, you could be cheated on or treated bad regardless. But the reason why you got to keep a good standing is because your partner could use that shit as an excuse to do what they want to do too. So just keep it in your pants and keep it respectful.
Yeah.
Keep it respectful. Because if you don't, man, don't cheat on women. Just please don't do it.
Right.
Because even if you think everything is all good, like, yeah, bro, I used to cheat on my girl, bro, but I'm good now, man. We're good. Our relationship is great. I'm like, yeah, your relationship is great because your wife is getting fucked by somebody. That's why.
Right.
You'll never find out.
Yeah.
You'll never find out. You think it's all good. You was fucking around and it was all fun and you was doing it.
Yeah.
If you found out what your wife was doing, oh boy, you would be sick. You'd probably be in a hospital like this dude that got a fucking anxiety attack.
Yeah, he probably cheated on his girl before too.
He probably did. Because you got to understand, I would say men's egos are a lot more shot when it comes to that type of shit. If men find out that their girl is running off with somebody, they can't take it. That's why it's important to keep your integrity, bro. It's not like I'm pandering to women by telling niggas to not cheat. Just don't do it.
Yeah. I'm more so pandering to men because it's not healthy for you.
No,
this is the result.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
end up on a gurney. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be on a gurney. As soon as you open that phone and you see that BBC, nigga, it's over for your ass. It'll be bad. That'll be terrible, man. Yeah, anyways. All right. Switching gears. Jess Hilarious. Jess Hilarious confronts Breakfast Club co-hosts on their over-air maternity leave fallout. And quote, when I came back, it was weird. Now, I'll put this in, I won't say layman's term, but more simpler terms. One of the hosts on the Breakfast Club is Jess Hilarious. Jess Hilarious was hired to be a permanent seat on that show, but when she was on maternity
After Angela Yee left.
Yeah, after Angela Yee left, they brought on a bunch of other guests to fill those seats, but Jess ended up being the returner, and she ultimately earned a permanent spot. But she ended up getting pregnant and went on maternity leave. But when she went on maternity leave, they kept on one of those guest hosts named Lauren LaRosa.
Yeah.
And Lauren LaRosa was on TMZ, and that was more of like a journalistic job where that she was doing like real research and being very thorough. And she brought that same value to the Breakfast Club, right? And I would just be watching Lauren LaRosa on the show. I'm like, fuck, she's good.
I think I had the thought independently, and I think you text me one day like Lauren is. I don't know what you said exactly, but it was essentially like Lauren is doing a good job.
Before all this shit went on.
I think she's doing a little bit better than Jess.
Yeah.
And then I think reading the comments, like a lot of people were saying it. And then it started to get even weirder because Jess was like, it was like, all right, guys, this is Jess with the mess. And then Lauren would just speak for 5 minutes about Drake or Kendrick or whatever. And she got research and she got sources and breaking stories and stuff like that. And people like, yo, this is not Jess with the mess. This is Lauren LaRosa's like segment now. So yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about Lauren is this though. This is what I said. Because Angela Yee was decent for the show, but she had like her little the rumor thing. Rumor has it, just like little rumor stuff. But the thing about Lauren LaRosa, like Lauren LaRosa is Angela Yee on steroids. Like whatever guest comes on, she has like real information that she has like literally researched. You can tell whether it was Andrew Schultz, whoever it was, she had like real research. Bill Burr, like she speaks to things that aren't just regular cookie cutter questions. They're based in research, and it's very thorough.
Right.
And I think that when you keep doing that, people notice. And Jess ultimately, this is what happened. Ultimately, Jess went on live and she went on a tangent about how things got weird on the Breakfast Club. And when she came back, she was expecting them to tell Lauren to leave, but she was still there and all this stuff. She just went on a whole rant about how things got weird at the show.
Yeah, weird. She was saying stuff like they kind of added Lauren to the show, but the only time Lauren would come on the show was during Jess's segment, like Jess with the Message segment.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The higher-ups, first of all, let's be very clear. What the higher-ups understand at iHeart is that if they did what Jess said, it wouldn't be good for their business. They're only keeping Lauren LaRosa because she's that good.
Right.
They know that if they let her go, she would have a job in 1 week.
She'd be on Hot 97 or something doing the same thing.
She'd be with a competitor or she'd have her own show somewhere. They know that's how good she is.
Yeah.
So they figure like, hey, you know what? Ultimately, if it comes down to those two, we're gonna cut Jess. I think that Jess and I think that Jess ultimately may need to lean into comedy, and it's not that Jess is not good. It's just the fact that Lauren is that elite at her job, bro.
But the thing for me, this is kind of it's like she and Jess alluded to it as well. She was saying like nobody had an issue with Jess with the mess until Lauren LaRosa came up here reading all good and stuff like that, and she was like partially joking, but it kind of highlighted some of the downfalls of Jess, because when there was a couple of times where I would watch Jess with the Mess, that portion, and Breakfast Club, they're talking about the hottest stuff, so a lot of times even on our podcast I would go on there to get like certain information about certain topics that we may talk about. So I'll see it like, oh, they talking about it on the Breakfast Club, let me go do my due diligence to see like what's really going on. So I would see certain segments with Jess, and you could tell like she don't really know. Like somebody might have just handed her a paper when she walked in, and she just reading it like, yeah, Drake did such and such, blah blah blah. He dropped the album today. I ain't really hear it, but it was cool. Like it was so obvious that she didn't actually know what she was talking about. Yeah, and I think for a person where it's like, yo, this is your job. Like you getting paid X amount of dollars to do this, and you're not actually doing it to the best of your abilities. And when somebody like Lauren LaRosa comes in, she got papers, she got like stuff, like you said, actual research. She talking about, I reached out to such and such to get more information on it. They haven't got back to me yet, and like she's speaking to it as like a like somebody that actually cares about the art of like journalism.
Absolutely, but not just that. I think she's utilizing tools that she had at TMZ. I think she's utilizing that same template, and she applied it to the Breakfast Club, and they have never had that.
Right.
And then people are like, oh, I'm so tired of the internet trying to put two black women against each other. It's like, no, that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. What's happening is that Lauren was so good at her job that freaking Jess felt threatened by it. And I'm here to tell everybody, especially young people, don't do this. Do not do this. It's almost like let's use a sports comparison. Let's say you're a veteran player. You're still really good, right? Let's say you're Drew Brees, right? You're Drew Brees. You're a Pro Bowl quarterback, and then you get injured, and there's a guy that comes off a bench, and his name is Tom Brady.
Drew Brees?
I mean, not Drew Brees. Drew Bledsoe. God damn it. You're Drew Bledsoe. You get hurt, and Tom Brady comes in, and he's just elite. He's throwing the ball all over the field. He gets the team to the Super Bowl, and they win, right? And you're like, at that point, you just got to tip your hat.
Same with Brock Purdy.
Yeah, you got to tip.
You got Jimmy Garoppolo in a first-round draft pick. And then the last man in the draft come in, and he throwing the ball all over the
place, yeah.
And it's like, we could either try to please everybody in the room and have Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo still starting, or we can go with what actually makes sense and have Lauren LaRosa, a.k.a. Brock Purdy, a.k.a. Tom Brady, still on the show, adding extreme value to the show. Absolutely. And at the same time, it's like, I think the consensus, is kind of saying like, well, if Jess doesn't want to be there, then I think people are saying like, hey, well, Lauren LaRosa is doing a good job. And I think one of the things, her and DJ Academics have a little bit of an issue, so I don't want to make it sound like,
I didn't even know what's going on with them.
I don't know. People don't really like Academics, and they be going back and forth on the
her and
whatever.
Lauren.
Lauren DJ Academics and Jess. Yeah, but he was. I forgot my point. What I was saying, but basically, some of the stuff he was saying was just kind of similar to what we were saying. He's like, you found someone that was a little bit better, someone that can actually read pretty well. And this is what he was saying. He was saying like, she was kind of brought on to be like
comic relief.
Yes, like she had the internet personality, and she was, the idea was that she was going to bring that to the Breakfast Club. But what he was saying was like that hasn't really translated to the radio, and that's kind of part of the issue. So it's like when you do bring Lauren LaRosa on, a person who's not really trying to be funny, a person that's just like extremely like great at providing information. then that's what it is. Another thing he talked about, and what I was speaking about earlier, was like there was a moment where, and this is me talking about like her not doing her due diligence before they press record on the radio. She talked about like when Drake dropped his album, she like, nah, man, I ain't really messing with that. Like it's the same old, like I don't want to hear this, blah, blah, blah. And then she basically said the album was whack. And she hadn't even heard it yet. She was like, I ain't even heard it yet, but I don't even like, it's like, how are you
here
on the nationally syndicated radio commenting on an album saying that you don't like it or that it's terrible or whatever, and you haven't heard it? And then fast forward, she's playing it. I think she's like on her Instagram, whatever the case may be.
Who's calling my phone?
And she liked the song.
She dancing to it.
It's like, dog. That's what people are talking about. That's the type of stuff where it's like, just let Tom Brady play.
Yeah. you need to be able to see yourself, and I don't think she can. Also, I'll say this. The reason why it's not really translating anymore, because she's occupying a space that already exists on that platform. If you need comedy relief, Charlamagne could give you all the comedy relief you need.
That's what DJ Academic said. He
you know what I'm saying?
Charlamagne is the funniest person on that show.
Absolutely. Jess is fucking, let me be clear. Jess Hilarious is fucking funny. She's hilarious. As a comedian, I've seen her stand up. I think she's funny. Okay. But she might need to lean into that harder, because the Breakfast Club may not be for her.
But the thing about it, like I think sometimes people have like spaces where they can be funny in. Like,
absolutely.
When you see, like, for example, it takes a lot of energy to be funny every day, right?
Yeah.
It's different when you're creating content, you're on your phone, and if it don't go right, you could delete it, record it again, or whatever the case may be. But it's different to be funny in real time when you're talking about topics about R. Kelly, Drake, Kendrick, 50 Cent, whatever the case may be. Like, that takes a different level of like comedic genius. And I think that not to say that she don't have it, I'm just saying like sometimes it doesn't translate as so.
Absolutely.
But when you see like a guy like Charlamagne, he's always having like these funny comments on the show.
Case in point, I'm going to prove your point right now. You said it's easy to be funny when you could make a video, delete it if it's not what you want, and just keep going back. But it's a little different. Charlamagne also does a podcast. He's spoken for thousands of hours. He knows how to be funny on the fly. His brain is wild. Like he'll say something super funny and super like quick-witted on the snap of a finger. And I think that you got to exercise those muscles. Me and Keith got over 32,000 hours of content, right? So whenever we're funny, it's not like we had to stop and edit and stop the podcast again and edit.
Oh, wait, Eddie, I got a good joke. Hold on.
Yeah, right, yeah, we don't do that. Yeah. The reason why because we've worked those muscles. I don't think Jess Hilarious has enough talking time outside of that platform. And I think that it's translating in there. And I think that a lot of these people that get on long form podcasts or radio, their personality starts to show, and you can see the inadequacies in people. Like I seen recently, Mike Epps was talking about Shannon Sharp in like a kind of disparaging way again. I'm like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
He's like, Shannon Sharp, man, like he need to start having more white people on there, man, and making them look bad, because he got to stop like picking on our people. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You don't even watch the show, Mike. Shut up. If you watch his show, you wouldn't say that. It comes from a lack of research. And when people are speaking from a lack of research or lack of investment in something, you look ignorant.
Right.
You look total. And by the way, you say you don't have no white people on there. This dude had Dana White on. Dana White. He's had
Schultz was just on there.
Yeah, well, he had Schultz. He had Teddy Swims.
What's the name was on there? I think Gary
was on there too.
Yeah, because he came on there a little bit after Cat Williams and Cedric and them were on there.
What I respect,
but also it's like, dude, he's a black man. So he's in the cult. Like he's kind of ingratiated himself into like hip hop, comedy. I think his first thing was like really interviewing comedians. You know what I mean? And then it just kind of like translated into different.
But here's the thing, though. I think that when he started off interviewing comedians, it would be like comedians or black, more specifically, like more black comedians. And then people started to try to craft what his content was supposed to be.
Right.
Like they started like, once he had certain guests, they like, oh, why would you do this? This ain't for the culture. It's like he's doing a podcast. I think he wants to be more like a Joe Rogan than like a podcast that has this one audience. You know, when you have Dana,
I think he kind of alluded to him wanting to do more of a night show type of vibe.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even call it a traditional podcast. I would.
Yeah.
He said he wanted to be more like what's the black dude that used to have a night show?
Arsenio Hall.
Arsenio Hall. Yeah, that's kind of what he said he wants.
And he can do what he wants. And, and when he has guests that I don't really care for, I just probably skip the episode. But I don't throw him out the window. Like he had Amber Rose, which I didn't get, but who cares?
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. But even some of those where I'm like, I ain't got really none to watch. Let me just throw this on to see what's going on. Sometimes those be like good, decent interviews.
He had Johnny Manziel on there. So like, if you really watch Shannon Sharp the way that I have, like the reason why you're not gonna see me jumping out the window saying dumb shit like that is because I actually watch the content.
Yeah.
So when you're Mike Epps, you just need to shut the fuck up. Just stay doing your comedy, bro. Don't say anything else. Yeah. But anyways.
Yeah. Sometimes people have too much of a platform to like say incorrect stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
Exactly. Like with you just said like the Jess thing. And here's the problem. It's not only Jess doing this. Those people that are in production, they have orders that are from up. Right? They're not just getting orders from like these immediate people to shoot this or to edit this. Those people at the top of the company are asking for cutaways and edits of all the inadequacies of those guests. Because, you know, not only are they, you know, looking at what Charlamagne and all of them are doing, they're trying to avoid lawsuits and incorrect information and all of that shit. So I'm pretty sure the producers or people that produce the show see incorrect information, and all those clips get sent in a fucking email. Like one of the dudes that's the top of production, he'll get a freaking email and open it, and it's like a slideshow of 7 minutes of just hilarious with inaccurate information.
I mean, it's probably not even that deep. It's probably somebody that did it on YouTube for free. Like 7 minutes of just not knowing what she's talking about. It's just like two. That's
true. Niggas on the internet be eating your career away.
They will, for sure.
It was a dude, bro. It was this dude. He never showed his face, but he had a YouTube channel that was solely. It was like comedian beef, but it was like talking about what is his name? The fighter and the kid, the one that was in UFC.
Brendan Schaub.
Brendan Schaub. And he was just going in on Brendan Schaub. So, and mind you, I caught his videos when his videos are getting like 250 views or whatever like that. It would be a couple of people like, yeah, you're right. Like his stand-up is terrible. I don't even know how, if it wasn't for Joe Rogan, he wouldn't even have a career. And and then you start going back to his videos. It went from 250 to like 900 views. And then 14,000 views, and then 50,000 views. And then it's like 80, 90,000 views. And then Brendan starts talking about it on his platform.
Right.
And he's like, I don't know who this motherfucker is that's talking shit about me, dude. But like, you might want to just get up on stage yourself, bro. Like, if you're talking about me, you're saying my shit sucks. It's crazy how somebody on the internet can get you to respond. You can't let that happen, man. You can't. But objectively speaking, that Gringo Poppy that special he had, absolutely terrible. Terribly shot. Was not funny at all. It just objectively it was not. But I think that Brendan Schaub has elements of him that can be funny. I've seen him be funny before. But this ain't it.
Yeah.
That was not it.
I think I haven't really seen his stand up, so I'm not gonna
I seen both of his specials.
I'm not gonna just hilarious this.
Right.
But what I will say is like a lot of times like your career could get expedited just by who you around.
Yes.
Like doing a podcast and doing Joe Rogan and then, you hitting the road. Like he was in Bakersfield, wasn't he?
Who? Brendan Schaub?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh, okay. I thought he was here. I might be mistaken. But either way, you could be doing these tours. I know he's been on tour and stuff like that before. And you don't really have time to really develop your act, really find like, and even a lot of like seasoned comedians, like, they'll ask you like, hey, how long have you been doing it? You'd be like, oh, I've been doing it for like 2 years or whatever like that. And they'd be like, oh, you still wet behind the ears. You don't really get funny until like year 10 or 11 or, you know what I mean? So I think for him, if this is what he, genuinely wants to do and he wants to be a touring comedian and things like that, it's there for him if he just keep putting the work in. But I think everything like it happens with a lot of like even with and not quite the same scenario, but with Drewski, like he did a comedy tour.
Oh yeah.
But it was really just like his show that he took on the road.
Yeah.
And people were expecting him to be like funny. Like
Yeah.
even I seen him, he opened up for J. Cole. And it wasn't stand up.
Nah.
And I think because I know he mentioned how Kevin Hart was like, dude, you got to get on stage, whatever the case may be. I think there's a fear of not being funny, right? There's a fear of like, I'm funny on the internet. I'm funny on, little skits and stuff like that. What if I'm not funny saying like an actual joke? And I think that that's like something that he's probably like running away from. Because when he did the J. Cole thing, it more so looked like
it's like an opener, like a what do you call, like a host type vibe.
Yeah, it was. It was more so like music play, like, oh y'all nasty, all y'all hoes is nasty out there. Why y'all twerking? It's just kind of that sort of thing. Like, and drop that other song, and then he play another song, and he'd be like, yeah, and then it's kind of like it's just energy. It's not like a punchline and like a setup and a punchline. It's just energy kind of thing. So I think that. I just say that to say like with Drewski, I don't know why J. Cole picked him, but I think that he wanted just that kind of funny element to the show, just to do something different. And I don't know if he's ready to do stand-up.
I think we can have a opinion about this, being as we've both been two people that have been on stage and done like open mics or shows or whatever.
Yeah,
and I think it's a different level. Like when you're writing jokes, it's just different than going and doing a skit.
Right.
Way different.
Right.
Like you literally have to feed off of your brain. I feel like Drewski has all of the material he needs in his brain. He has to find a way to articulate.
He could do it for sure. I would say yes and no. I think like there's kind of two ways you could go about it. Like there are some people who like are just naturally funny. Like I hate to like separate it like this, but sometimes like there's like an energy comedy, if that makes sense. Like some people have like a funny tone. Like they're not telling like actual jokes.
Yeah.
But they just got a funny tone. Like they may cuss and like the people in the audience will laugh, or they may say nigga too hard and then like the people in the audience will laugh. There's a lot of like internet guys like that. But when it comes to like actually writing a joke, like a well crafted, like a setup about whatever, like using some sort of misdirection or any of the jokes that you've told about like deodorant and like Popeye's biscuits and stuff like that, like some of that stuff, like it requires actual like writing ability and not just being funny, you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing that a lot of them don't really get, and I don't know if they're even willing to put the work in that way, because
Absolutely.
a lot of times it's easy for a lot of people to be like, what I find, like, especially working at a school and stuff like that, there's some people that are, like, some kids that I know that are, like, super talented, right? But in the face of something that is not, that doesn't come easy to them, they don't, like, do it. Like, I know this girl, she draws, like, really well. Like, she draws, like, anime stuff really well, right? But then like, we'll be doing like graphic design type of things. Like we'll be working with like creating logos and stuff like that. And her work is terrible. Like it's god awful. Like you wouldn't think it was the same person that was doing like all of these assignments. Like she goes from drawing really well to like creating a logo, and it just looks like, like the local donut shop kind of thing. So I say that to say, but what I know with her is like, if it's difficult, she's not going to like,
that's a good point.
She's not going to open up Google and be like, dang, how do you actually do this? She's just going to turn in something that's like half-assed and then just expect to get a grade from it.
It is. This might not be a good analogy or comparison, but it's almost like a Patrick Beverly, right? Patrick Beverly was a high scorer in high school. He was scoring like 50 plus points in high school, right? But as he became a pro, he had to master playing a role. He had to master playing defense and only scoring like 8 points, 6 points.
Right.
But he mastered a new role. He didn't just say, if I can't score, then I don't want to play.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And I think a lot of people figure like, if they have one, like they're a one trick pony. If they can't like, and I don't want to be disrespectful to Jess, but if they're not using comic relief, or if they're not using skits like Drewski or whatever the case, then they're not really great at anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
You gotta learn. Like, here's the thing: if you have, let's say, for example, me and Keith had a guest spot, some people listening will be like, "Oh, I don't know about that." I know for a fact, if for randomly the Breakfast Club wanted to have me and Keith on, it'd be a great interview, just because we have thousands of hours talking.
Yeah.
Maybe the first, maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, we would have to get the jitters out, right? Because, we're on a Breakfast Club. Like, this is insane.
Yeah.
After that, nigga, I'm talking. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Yeah. And I think another example comes to mind at our church. Like the preacher or the pastor is like the CEO of the church, for example. But there's a guy that is at the church. He's like the music director, and I don't know what his role would be. He's I guess he's technically like a deacon or something like that. But he's kind of like the pastor's right hand man. Like if the pastor wants some water or something like that, he'll run and grab him a water bottle. If he's sweating a lot, he'll grab him a towel. Like, he's just kind of like at the service of the pastor in order to make sure the service runs smoothly and stuff like that. But outside of the church, he's like he's a principal of a school. You know what I mean? Like, he has a really prestigious job, when it comes to the school district and stuff like that. Right. And I say that to say, like, sometimes, you have like this skill set, and then you transfer that, and you find a way to become great at something else, even though it may not be like what you came in the game doing. So to kind of relate it to Jess Hilarious, like, she was going crazy on the internet, like her Jess with the Mess and all of her news segments that she was just posting online, like, hilarious. Anytime she turned on her phone, it was like going crazy. But when you come to the Breakfast Club, she had that honeymoon period where it was fresh, it was new.
Yep.
But then now she's kind of being relegated to like an actual radio personality. And I think that it's not fitting her well. So I think for her, what should happen over the next however many days is just find a way to like really perfect that.
Absolutely.
Like, you can go tour the country on the stand-up, and kill that, right? But at the same time, when you come to the Breakfast Club, there's like a pecking order in here.
Yes.
DJ Envy and Charlamagne, who've been here for years. And then you got Lauren with her news segment, boom. But I'm Jess, and I'm going to find a way to like maneuver, add my little 2 cents in every now and then, and just play my role.
She looks like she's fighting for a spot right now.
Right. And I think it doesn't help that, I think it's like a lot of ego, and that's why I related it to the principal. Because when I see him, helping the pastor out, I'm like, dog, he has a great job. Like, he's successful. He's been teaching for X amount of years. He probably gonna retire in a few years. Like, he's accomplished in life. Like, but at the same time, like, when he comes here, he just plays a role. And I think that that's like something that we can all learn from, especially Jess at that job.
I'll say this before we move on, but it kind of reminds me of Kyrie Irving, right? And if anybody, this is a basketball reference. If you don't know him, he's one of the best point guards in all of the NBA. And he didn't fit in with the Boston Celtics. He didn't fit in with the Brooklyn Nets. And he fits in better now with the Mavs. But after he left the Celtics, they ended up winning a championship. So it just tells you sometimes you could be good and still not fit in, right? And I think that's what's happening to Jess. But more power to her. But if she's off that show and they got Lauren, they got everybody they need.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's unfortunately. Yeah. And I will say this also before we move on. If someone is better than you at something, just accept it. I'm not saying that you have to relegate yourself to like, I'm no good at my job. You could be good, but they could be great, nigga. There's a difference.
Right.
If you're good, you're still good. But you got to be like, okay, this motherfucker got the juice.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's got the juice. I understand. I get it.
Yeah. I think it's important for like to kind of move out the way.
Yes.
Let that person be great.
Tip your hat and move out the way. Don't try to battle them. If you can, give them more information. And I think true strength is seeing somebody, because it's been like situations where a quarterback comes in, they take the starting spot, and the dude that's been starting for 9 years, that's been good, by the way, he just getting outshined so bad that he got to come off the bench. And it's like, hey, man, when you're reading here and you do a 2-step drop, and now you've become helping for them. But here's the thing. Whenever you are in the background helping somebody and watering that plant, it opens up new opportunities to you because everybody sees it. What Jess Hilarious did could have been career suicide because they're watching her in real time be that jaded and feel that and be that disrespectful to somebody who was just doing their job. So, and they could have kept that shit behind closed doors. So it was super unprofessional.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't have like a direct correlation to this, but like I also coach track now. Right. So, one thing that I realize is that like, if I can help anybody around me, whether this at my actual school or at another school, or it's my friend's, team or whatever the case may be, it's like, it doesn't make me any less, or I don't need to have an ego in a way where it's like, if my athlete is not the best, runner in town, or if I'm only giving advice to my athlete, like, that's the only way it has to be. So like, for example, I have one of my friends, he coaches at another school, and his kid runs hurdles. And I used to run hurdles when I was back when I was in high school. So I seen some so I was like I checked his time online, and he did well. He ran his fastest time yesterday, and I was like, hey man, like I texted my friend. I was like, your kid did good. Like he PR'd in both events, whatever. And then he was kind of saying like, dang, he was kind of saying like the critical version of it, like, oh, he did this wrong or whatever. And I was like, send me the video so I can kind of like see, like if I see anything that can help him get better. And the thing with track too is like it's hard work based and it's technical, but it's a lot of just raw talent.
Yeah.
Like some of these, I mean, you went to school with a lot of them, that just kids are super fast. And
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. So I just like, send me the video so I can see some stuff. And then I looked at the video, and I like literally sent him a document with like 3 little key points that can help him get better. You know what I mean? And I say that to say, like, in comparison to this situation where it's like, where you could go on a rant on freaking Instagram Live, or you can just take it behind the scenes and just try to figure out a way to make it all work.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, I just kind of remove my ego in the situation, and I want all of my people that I'm connected to thrive.
Absolutely.
Versus like trying to put somebody down or like, be so emotional about the whole situation.
Absolutely. You mentioned like a lot of it is raw talent. You're right, because there's been people where their entry or their start to like track was like a teacher seeing them running for the police or something.
Right.
And they was like, man, hey, young man, do you got a minute? I seen you running from the cops last week, man, and I have not seen anybody run that fast in 15 years. You got to come out here. You got to see, man. They be like, man, I don't want to run no track, man. I'm a gangster. Like, all right, young man, but if you come out here, just give it a shot. You could probably get a scholarship, and then they end up loving it or something.
Yeah.
There was a dude, and I'll say this before we move on from here. There was a dude I knew in high school named Cleo. He's a great dude, man. He was always getting in fights, and he was always getting in trouble. But he was always real cool with me. I never had no problem with him. And what I started to find out is people were just pieces of shit, and he was firing on people. Like he was like the original Aaron the plumber.
That's funny.
This nigga was crashing out. But what I figured out though is like me and him never had a problem. He even knocked this one dude out that was some dude was talking shit to my dad, and Cleo was our neighbor on the backside of the apartment, and Cleo knocked dude out for talking shit to my dad.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, this dude is every time he beating somebody up, it's because
he wasn't in the wrong.
He wasn't in the wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he cool. It's y'all just and I'll come back to that. But anyways, I got him to come out for football. I said, bro, you naturally strong and you pretty fast. I was like, you got to come out here and play running back. He's like, for reals, nigga? Because he was just a hood nigga.
He just
firing
just
firing on people.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, man, you can fucking do it, bro. I know you can.
Yeah.
And he got out there and he was slipping all over the place because he didn't have no cleats. He was poor. But when he got the ball and ran, the nigga was running fast.
Yeah.
And coach was like, hey, that dude right there, he running pretty good. And he's one of those naturally buff dudes.
Yeah.
The dudes that don't be lifting no weights, they just hood buff.
He good buff.
He just hood buff. And
Yeah.
he was kind of a little bit stiff, but he started getting better and running and stuff, but then he ended up not having the grades.
Dang.
But he's one of those dudes that was like just a natural
just
talent.
raw talent, yeah.
Man,
for sure.
man, I remember it was this one dude. I ain't gonna say his last name, but his name was Steven, right? Black dude. And he had this story, right, that he was telling people the next day. I was there when the shit popped off. Okay, so in Bakersfield, we got a bus system called the Get Bus, Golden Empire Transit, right? And right in front of this taco spot, it was called Los Tacos back in the day. And the bus had pulled up. And I guess they was like having a back and forth. And Steven started talking shit to Cleo. He's like, bro, I'll really beat your ass. And I was just looking over at the bus. And he socked Steven off the top step of the bus. I ain't never seen a nigga get socked off a bus in my life. He got socked off the bus, bro. And then he fell down, and then the bus just closed the door and drove off.
No.
Swear, hey, bro, I swear. But look. He was telling people like, yeah, we got into it, whatever. We was doing our thing, but
he's lying.
Yeah, he's like, he caught me one. He caught me, but I was like, bro, stop the cap.
Nah, he
bro.
got sucked out. The
That nigga
bus
lying.
just dipped.
Yeah, and I was young, so I instigated. I said, Cleo, yeah, the door's closed. He already got socked off the bus. Ain't nothing else to see here. You got socked off. And I'm not talking about like the first or second step. That nigga got socked off the top step of the bus. Socked off.
Off the turnbuckle.
Yeah, socked off the bus, fell down, and then the bus just, it was like a air noise when it closed. The bus drove off. Them bus drivers don't care. They are desensitized. They be seeing motherfuckers get beat up, throw up on the bus, all kind of shit.
All kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, but I went and told Cleo, I said, hey, man, that nigga saying that he was getting with you, bro. I was right there. Yeah. He's like, that nigga doing that.
That nigga Cleo's knocking out grown men.
Yeah, no, Steven, we was all in high school.
No, I'm saying you say you fought somebody else talking about your pops.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I swear to God. Damn. It was his... He had his mom, her hood name was Bon Bon, right? And she was dating this white dude. He was like a hood white dude. He's like one of them hood nigga white dudes. He had braids and everything. And he started like popping off to my dad like, nah, OG, you ain't about nothing, man. You ain't doing nothing, whatever like that. And then my pops was like, hey, bro, I don't know you like that. Just leave it alone. And first of all, my dad would have beat him down. But the dude, for some reason, was feeling himself. So then he did it again. He's like, oh, gee, man, y'all ain't nobody listening to this shit you talking about, man, whatever like that. And then I guess my dad had left, and he heard some tussling. And I guess Cleo told him, like, yeah, I beat that nigga's ass. He was talking shit. He should not have been talking like that. He damn well he can't be popping off like that. Not in this house.
Dang.
And I'm like, bro, that's when we really, like.
So that was Cleo's, like, almost like a stepdad?
Nah, it was supposed to be, but it's not. It's just like a younger dude that was fucking his mom.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was like, bro, I'm not tolerating no disrespect.
Dang, he can't putting hands on your mom boyfriend.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of dude, man, for talking. My pops was like, oh, man, you ain't had to do him like that. Yeah. But he's like, man, fuck cuz.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Have you heard from him?
I haven't seen him in a long time. I haven't seen him in I seen him probably about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he wasn't doing the best, which I don't judge people when they're in a low moment. Yeah. But I still showed him love. Hey, man, what's up, bro? He's like, hey, man. And I was like, hey, man, you straight? Because I guess he was in the parking lot. I think he has some of his kids with him. Yeah. And I was like, you straight? You need anything out of here? Because I was at the store. He's like, nah, I don't need nothing, man. Like, I'm not finna judge nobody, man. You know, everybody, who knows what times he going through.
For sure.
Yeah, but I know he could still put hands on people, bro. I could just look at him and tell. Yeah. Like, this nigga's an eternal crash out. And we never had no beef. That nigga wasn't afraid of me or none of that. Like, he would have tried to fire on me if we had a problem, but we never had no problem because I was always cool.
Cleo the plumber.
Yeah, that's somebody I would hire for security. I'd be like, you got a job, bro? He's like, nah, man. I'd be like, hey, man, you hired. Like, all you got to do is fire on niggas that try to get over it. You know?
That was funny.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on. You want to just jump? You want to still talk about Big? You want to jump to the last one?
Yeah, we got to talk about Big U.
We got to talk about it?
It's such a big story.
Okay. All right, switching gears. Big U. Big U is like a Crip that's like a fake community activist, and he's been doing this for a while. Big U Henley, Eugene Henley. He's been on Breakfast Club, all kind of things, and all of the platforms, like $1 million worth of game, and talking about building a community and all of this shit. But the whole time he was just He was still a gang banger, and still doing thug bullshit the whole time. Mm-hmm. Right? Just one of them fake. He's not an OG. I'm never calling somebody an OG just because they was in a gang. If you are OG, if you're a person that's doing right by your community and by your people, and he was not doing that. Mm-hmm. And this comes out. So I'm going to read this. Federal authorities have taken into custody on Wednesday an alleged longtime leader of the Los Angeles street gang who investigators say ran like mafia-like criminal enterprise that included murder, human trafficking, and extortion, while he also worked as an entertainment entrepreneur, officials announced. Eugene Henley Jr., known as Big U, was one of the 18 members of the Rolling 60s neighborhood Crips charged in a federal complaint with a litany of federal crimes, including drug trafficking, conspiracy, and firearm offenses. The United States Attorney Office said in a statement. Before turning himself in on Wednesday, the self-described community activist recorded videos denying the accusations. This is the price of being black and trying to help somebody, trying to help your community. Shut the fuck up.
This is the feds, bro.
Don't pull that black card now, you fucking piece of shit.
Feds, dog.
Fuck
it's not. This is not no local TMZ.
Nah, they don't. When the feds pick you up, they got years of looking at your shit. They got years of tapping your phones.
Right.
They got years of people snitching on you. They got years of this. They got years of the people that you extorted that got so tired.
Extortion is the easy one.
It's the easy one. If you extort me, right, and you say, "Hey, give me this money, or I'm gonna beat your ass," and you've been doing this to me for 2 years, and I don't got the money to really pay you no more, I'm gonna go to the police so I could make a living and get you off the streets.
But the thing about it, too, the thing with Big U is like, I'm not saying this in a way where like I'm not trying to speak about no Crip because I don't want it to get taken that way. But what I'm saying is when you are a person who's like you could kind of sense his tone. Like there was a movie that was being shot in their neighborhood, and I don't know if somebody was recording behind the scenes or whatever, but he was just saying like, you got to check in. Like, come. Anybody can shoot a movie in the hood. Like, you just got to check in, make sure it's right. And it was just like the tone in which he was saying it just sounded like I'm getting paid X amount of dollars for them to shoot this project in the hood. You know what I mean? And I get it because that's their neighborhood, and some people try to paint it in a way where we don't want people coming and making money off our neighborhood, whatever the case may be. But just that tone of like. They were saying like weed shops and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like that people are having to pay
like
certain taxes and stuff like that to have their businesses in that neighborhood.
Yes.
It's just, to me, that's like, it makes me sick to my stomach where people are trying to, say, this isn't a real situation, but say like a guy like myself or a young kid from USC, he want to make a little, short film or something about somebody in the Crenshaw neighborhood or something like that, and he got his camera out there, and they like, "Hey, bro, what you doing in the hood?" You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that stuff because there's people out here really trying to
absolutely
make it out or make something creative, and you got people. I know even Pat, he had a situation where I think he was at. I don't know if he was at the little corner store where Nipsey Hussle's store used to be or something like that.
Yeah.
He kind of got ran off because, some niggas came up there. And
Are you serious?
Like, yeah. He'll tell you the story better than I can. But, that stuff is just like, I don't know. It's just kind of lame to me.
What's lame to me is you're running people off property you don't own. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't own this property here. You can't fucking tell me what to do. Mm-hmm. The thing about it, bro, I'm telling you right now. People, it always comes back. When you treat people like this, it always happens. How many times have I said on this very podcast, the way you treat people is like a credit score, right? You could be down on your luck. You probably don't got the most money. You might not have a job. But when you treat people good, something is going to come in your favor because you have a history of treating people fairly and doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. You are better off being a person that lives a humble life that treats people right than being a dude that takes shit by force. Because what's going to happen is you've built up a reputation of strong-arming people. Mm-hmm. You've made up a reputation of beating people up, killing people, and you are ruling by fear. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, somebody's not going to be scared. So two things are going to happen. Either you are going to get snitched on or one of them people that you extorting is going to kill you. Mm. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
everybody in the hood ain't just scared of Big U. There is somebody up there with a sniper rifle that was waiting to blow his motherfucking head off. Because don't get it twisted, it's probably some old black man that's in the neighborhood that was in Vietnam that killed a lot of people that's watching this dude in his neighborhood, and he got a motherfucking sniper from his apartment building. It's all kind of people. Like, this is why you don't play with people, bro. There are dangerous people in here that are out in the world that you don't know that are dangerous. So somebody for sure wanted to kill Big U. He was either going to get killed or he's going to go to prison, and he went to prison.
Yeah, those people are. I'm not gonna say they're impossible to touch, but the way, like, you got to think, like, he moving around like a mafia boss.
Yeah,
you know, I'm sure he not going any place where he don't know the whole perimeter. He don't know what type of people. He probably going in his actual neighborhood, and then he going to these different radio stations and things like that. But it's like a system. And I wish I had time. I didn't get time to read the whole affidavit, but it was like 200 pages and stuff like that. And my boy was telling me it was like a lot of wild stuff in there. So, but I just say that in response to what you're saying. These people are moving around super militant, especially when you live in LA. Like, the politics in LA is so crazy. Like, you kind of have to move around like that. But the only person that don't care about none of that politics stuff is the feds.
No, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like, everybody else, like, in a certain situation, like, you can extort the local liquor store that's, having got their business and trying to raise their family, trying to send their kids to school and things like that. But the feds don't care about none of that. And this is, like you said, that when the feds come knocking at your door, they not rolling the dice. Like, they have enough information. There's also a situation where I don't know if you want to explain it, but there was somebody signed to his label that played football or something like that.
One of his son's friend that was signed to a label, to the label, and he was putting up a bunch of studio time, and he was finding out that his artist wasn't in the studio creating music. He was like in the studio every other day, or sometimes not, just skipping, not doing it, but he was fitting the bill for him to make music. He ended up driving out there to Vegas and was leaning into him and basically saying, like, hey, man, you need to make this or that. And then supposedly they had pieced it up, but then one night they left the studio together, and Big U was the only one that came back. And one of the witnesses said that Big U was sweating profusely. He was sweating profusely, and he didn't come back with homeboy. And somebody said, you good? And they said, oh, I just came from the gym. So he told the person he just came from the gym, but the truth of the matter is he had just killed somebody.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this motherfucker's crazy. He's been doing this shit for a long time. This dude is 60 years old moving like this.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, now he's going where he should be.
Yeah. Yeah. They got a place for people like that, man.
Yeah.
And it sucks, I think, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but I'm just glad, like, Nipsey Hussle is not connected to this in any way, shape, or form. Because I think, as fans and admirers of the way Nipsey moved, especially being a gang member and a former gangbanger, we kind of looked at him as like the example of what it could look like if you started reading books and just start elevating beyond like being a Crip. You know what I mean? And I think that if this situation were to happen when Nipsey was still around, somehow he probably would have got drug into it, and it just would have kind of like put a stain on his reputation and what he was doing in the community. But I think this is like a beautiful thing when you have Black Sam opening up Marathon Burger and doing like positive things for the community. From the outside looking in, it seems like he's doing things the right way. And then like you said, like these people, a crash out is going to crash out. And, they got, like you said, they got a place for people like that. And they said he's facing life in prison, if he gets convicted of all these things. So, yeah. And they picked up like 15, 14 other people, including Brick Baby. Brick Baby is another person that is frequently on like No Jumper
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But these people are incriminating themselves. Like they're literally up there incriminating themselves. And the funny,
I got murders on my. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's so hilarious. The thing about it is like the cops now, or federal investigators, whatever. Their job is so easy.
It's super
They
easy.
they get paid to watch podcasts.
Bro, if you and obviously we can move on from this. It's kind of whatever, and we got to go. But
Yeah.
like, there was another situation with the rapper Yellow Beezy, I think his name is. Like, the rapper Mo3 that got shot
the
on the
murder.
freeway. Yeah, supposedly he just got picked up because he was the person that put the money on his head. So like these rappers are, I don't get it.
Yeah, I hope more of them go to jail.
Yeah.
I hope more of them don't use this black community shit. Don't use none of that. Don't say, "Oh, well, I'm a black." No, you are the poison. You are the cancer that needs to be cut out of our community. Go to jail and shut up. We don't want to hear y'all. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I hope that go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you got it.
No, I was just gonna say it just reminded me that Lil Durk I think he's in jail right now as well.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of these artists, rappers, people associated with the hip hop industry, and they always try to make like, the hip hop police, and they trying to make an example. It's like,
Stop doing
these
illegal
are
shit.
like criminals, dog.
Yeah,
like
stop.
if you're murdering people, if you're getting people murdered, that's kind of where it begins and ends. Like, these are people that are allegedly either paying for people to get murdered or murdering people on their own, and they got a nice little cot for you, in a prison cell somewhere. So yeah, pick all these niggas up, man.
He said cot as in COT, not cock.
Oh,
I just want people to be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that sounded crazy at first. They got a nice cock for you in prison.
Hey, man. To each his own.
To meet its own.
That's comedy.
All right, you want to talk about this last one or just go and wrap
Yeah,
it
we
up?
can run through it.
We run through it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, switching gears. Let's wrap this thing up. Jackie Robinson's Army career wiped from military website and DEI purge. So basically, let's go ahead and read this quick article here. All right, the military story of Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball after serving as a second lieutenant in the Army, no longer exists on the Defense Department's website as a part of Trump's administration wiping out diversity, equity, and inclusion within federal government. To scan federal websites for articles, social media posts, photos, news articles, and videos to remove any web pages that promote diversity, equity, inclusion. Several websites under Pentagon jurisdiction have been removed thousands of documenting the history of people of color, LGBTQ people, women, and others from marginalized backgrounds and their contributions to the American military. Multiple pages about Robinson were taken down, including a page about Negro League players talking about serving in the military. But as of Wednesday afternoon, at least one page about Robinson and a series about athletes who served in the military have been reinstated. As Secretary, DEI is dead, and the Defense Department Pentagon Press Secretary John said Wednesday in a statement, discriminatory equity ideology is a form of woke cultural Marxism that has no place in our military. It divides the force. Okay, I want you to zoom in on that. It divides the force, erodes unit cohesion, and interferes with services' core warfighting mission. Okay, I want you to zoom in on that word. It divides the force. It divides the force, right? The same force that had black men fighting in segregated units in the military. You mean that? Or what about when black men fought in every American war and came back to a country that not only segregated them, but did not allow them to use their GI Bill for housing or education? Mm-hmm. Didn't even allow. And what about that same military that actually fought? If you look up the Battle of Bammer Bridge, there was so much racism in the military that black soldiers had to end up defending themselves from gunfire from their own country. Mm-hmm. Let me look it up right now. Battle of Bammer Bridge. All right. Is the name given to an outbreak of racial violence involving American soldiers stationed in the village of Bammer Bridge, Lancashire, in northern England during the Second World War. Tensions had been high following a failed attempt by U.S. commanders to racially segregate pubs in the village and worsened in 1943, a Detroit race riot. The battle started when a white American military police, MPs, attempted to arrest several African American soldiers from the racially segregated 115th Quakemaster Truck Regiment for being out of uniform, a violation of the U.S. Army Code of Conduct. Amid a confrontation in the street afterwards that turned violent, a white MP shot and killed Private William Crossland. More military police then arrived, armed with machine guns and grenades, and black soldiers armed themselves with rifles from their base armory. Both sides exchanged fire throughout the night. In the end, a court-martial convicted 32 African-American soldiers of mutiny and related crimes. And you want to take DEI from Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in baseball, but not only that, was fighting for a country that didn't even want him and fought against their own black soldiers? This is not DEI or some made-up shit that I made up. This is American history. Not to mention, what bothers me about this whole DEI conversation, can black people ever accomplish anything without it being labeled DEI, or you motherfuckers just gonna beat us down with it? So when a white man does something, it's just an accomplishment. But when a black person does something, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm going to just say this. I'm not the person that gets on this podcast and calls everything racist, right? However, this is blatantly motherfucking racist. You take down Jackie Robinson off anywhere, you are pandering to you are galvanizing the wrong fucking people. As the president of the United States, you're purging DEI. But let me make it very motherfucking clear. DEI would never exist if this country wasn't so goddamn racist. Bottom line, it would never exist if black people had the ability to do anything. You can't even fight. Bro, there is no, and this is not even an opinion. This is a fact. There is no person in America more patriotic than a black man, because black men have fought in every American war. Every single one. The first person to die and shed blood for this country was a black man named Crispus Attucks. Was that DEI? And, oh, by the way, anybody listening, go to Google and look it up. Everything I'm saying, proof check it. And the fact that it might trigger you is, one, either you're racist or you don't know shit about black culture. You don't know shit about black contributions to this country. And the fact that you want to purge everything, dude, we live in a country that painted Robert E. Lee and the Confederate flag as just culture. You ever see somebody that got a Confederate flag and they're like, it's not racism, it's just my culture, I celebrate it. You mean the same culture that fought to preserve slavery? You mean the same culture that wrote the Cornerstone speech? Listen to this, dog. For all of those that want to push back, I got all the information. Cornerstone speech. And this is what it says. The Cornerstone speech, also known as the Cornerstone Address, was an oration given by Alexander H. Stephens, acting vice president of the Confederate States of America, at the Athenaeum in Savannah, Georgia. And this is what it says. Improvised speech. No. Okay. Where the hell is it at? Damn it. I pulled the damn thing up, and then it didn't pull the fuck. Okay, speech title. Here it is. Our new government foundations are laid. This is what it says. This is not me just being black and sensitive, right? This is what it says. Our new government foundations are laid. Its cornerstone rests upon the great truth that the Negro is not equal to the white man, that slavery's subordination to the superior race is his natural and normal condition. This, our new government, is the first in the history of the world, based upon this great physiological and moral truth. Then later it says, our Confederacy is founded upon principles in strict conformity with these laws. This stone, which was rejected by the first builders, is become the chief of corner, the real cornerstone in our office edifice. There's even more than that. There's a whole lot more than that. Later in the speech, Stephens, in biblical imagery, in arguing that divine laws consign black Americans to slavery as substratum in our society. What the fuck does that say? Substratum in our society. They was using words back then. Boy. They was using words. But look, all I'm saying is this, man. You could purge information about black people on the internet. That's fine. Go ahead. They've already suppressed a bunch of information from people. That's why so many motherfuckers are ignorant in our society today. They don't know about the contributions of black people in this country. They don't. They don't know about the many spaces in America that were once thriving black communities that got flooded out with water. Like, look up Lake Lanier. Lake Lanier was a black community that got flooded out with water. They ran all the black people out and killed some of them, flooded it with water, and now it's called Lake Lanier. And those people ended up getting restitution. The ancestors of those black families got restitution from that crime. And this happened all over America. But then people want to wonder why black people, why are they kneeling? Why are they not Americans? There is nobody more patriotic than a black man in the United States, because they shouldn't be patriotic at all. Mm-hmm. So I don't really got too much more else to say. I just think it really triggered me when I see Jackie Robinson, not only as a Dodger fan, but as a black man. You need to watch the movie 42 with Jackie Robinson. The amount of shit that Jackie Robinson went through just to fucking play baseball is disgusting. You know what I'm saying? You know what's? Are you familiar with Ted Williams, the one of the best baseball players ever? Mm-mm. Okay. All right. Ted Williams was actually Mexican, but he never said it. Mm-hmm. His mother was Mexican. Mm-hmm. And that was at a time where if you were white passing, you just better off not saying that you had anything mixed. Mm-hmm. Because if they found out he was Mexican, that would have been bad. Mm-hmm. His mom was straight up Mexican too, but he looked like white passing. Mm-hmm. Here goes Ted Williams, Mexican. Ted Williams, a legendary baseball player, blah, blah, had a mother, May Venzor, who was of Mexican Basque descent, but he rarely talked about his Mexican heritage, possibly to avoid prejudice. This is the country we live in. You couldn't be nothing but white, man. Mm-hmm. We couldn't be nothing but white. And for anybody that's white that's listening to the podcast, this is not to chastise you, but it was people like you many years ago that were disgusting people, okay? And I think the most important thing to do is not sit here and put it on your lap. Modern white people didn't do shit to nobody. But these motherfuckers, boy, mm-hmm. Them cats that was calling Jackie Robinson, calling them niggers for swinging a bat at a ball, mm-hmm. That's insane. Yeah. That's insane, man. I know I was long-winded. I apologize. I didn't give Keith no ability to say anything.
No, I think that, kind of bringing it back to the DEI thing, I think that people think that it's, there's something wrong with it. It's literally just, and this is the same plight that black people have had since the 1960s, right? And even now, like they're always like, there's always these dumbass questions like, why black entertainment, or why do black people need a Black History Month? And the reason for it is this is to recognize the plight that black people have gone through since they freaking started slavery in the 1600s. So I think that when you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is literally a response to attempt to like level the playing field, the attempt to share information that is not widely understood. Like when you talk about Jackie Robinson and his struggle in being the first black man in the major leagues, and you talk about like even a lot of his story, like he had a brother also that was like, if I'm not mistaken, his brother was in the same Olympics as Jesse Owens. Yeah. So these are stories that are going to go untold unless Absolutely. There's an effort to put them into the curriculum.
Absolutely.
Right. So I just think that, I think that sometimes DEI gets a bad rap because they try to make it sound like, like it's like a Hollywood, like a super liberal thing where, all right, guys, like in commercials now, like, you could kind of see it, right?
Absolutely.
Like in commercials, sometimes there's bigger women in there, and then there's like the handicapped person, and then there's the person that looks like this, and
That's just
the
inauthentic.
albino, and like that stuff is like,
yeah, it's too much.
I don't even want to speak on that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, as a black man, there is a lot of times where, like, I mean, at my job, there's only 2 black teachers, right? This is a huge campus with thousands of kids on there, and there's only 2 black teachers. Like, if you look across our district, it's like few and far between. Like, it's sad, and there are people that are qualified to do these jobs, but they're not getting the opportunities for whatever reason. So why not? And what they've done is created jobs to make sure that a person named DeAndre, his resume, his application is not skipped over based on his name. They're putting more people in positions that can view the landscape of things and try to just diversify it. And we don't need to diversify it just for the sake of diversity, right?
Yeah.
You need to diversify it because this is, quote unquote, the melting pot, right?
Absolutely.
So if you have, only speaking about education, if you have, 12% black kids in your school and all the teachers are white, it's like, how is that serving these students? Like, they don't even have like a cultural relatability. You know what I mean? So I just think that, diversity is important. And I've said it before, diversity is not important just for me as a black man. It's important for women to be in these roles. It's important for women to be in these high positions at, whatever companies. It's important for, Asians to have opportunities. It's important for Middle Eastern people, Hispanic people, Latino, all these different people to have a voice in various spaces, because that's what makes our country and our communities better. When it's just the white male that's speaking for everybody, it just doesn't work, because there's inherent biases that come with those things. But if you're having a space where there's more diverse people, then you can have those biases can be checked, because you're going to have somebody from that community to say, like, hey, I understand what you're trying to do here, but this works a little bit better, or this messaging doesn't look that great when it comes to my people, so we got to switch it up right here. So right. I just think that, like I said, DEI is a response to a bunch of white males like trying to shift the narrative of America, and they're trying to paint America as this cookie cutter great place to be. But even Anthony Mackie, he said it, and I think he pulled back on his comment a little bit, just because I don't think he wanted the backlash from in his movie was about to come out. But he was like, I don't think Captain America is like a good representation of like the actual character. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think he was alluding to the fact that you have this character named Captain America, but the actual character is like the most morally good character in all of comic book history. You know what I mean?
And that's not accurate.
And that's not what America is built on. America is built on raping people and giving people smallpox and enslaving people from an entirally different continent.
This is not an opinion, folks.
This is what America is.
This is not an opinion
built on. So I just think that what I believe he was alluding to has a lot of merit to it.
I think that a better representation for America is Homelander.
Yeah.
Homelander was literally what was that show called? The Boys?
Yeah.
They intentionally did that. Mm-hmm. Like him as the main character, he was this cookie cutter guy, blonde, white dude, but he was committing these crimes and doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to bash white men. That's how the show depicted it, though. Mm-hmm. That's how they put it out. Mm-hmm. I do think there was times when that show got pretty liberal, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think it was the writers had to be more liberal. You could just kind of tell there was a little bit.
Yeah,
but anyway,
in the tone like that.
Yeah, the tone is a little liberal. Mm-hmm. But man, I just think there's too many accounts. There's not enough. I don't think that they've done enough for black men who have fought in the Army, Navy, Marines for them to be removing things with DEI. I think that there are a bunch of men that happen to be black that died for this country that have not, they're barely receiving attention posthumously. They're receiving Purple Hearts. Like their family is getting like a Purple Heart for like a relative that died. You know, I had a great cousin. Oh, that was on my dad's side. He used to tell us stories about when he was in Germany, about how, you know, he took this German dude hostage. He still had a gun at his house. He had a German Ruger. It's I got to talk to Rudy about it, but it's I think it's on your mom's side. But Frank, who was older, I think he passed in his late 80s, but he had a pistol and everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. There's been a history of a lot of, you know, and then I just looked up here, there was 400 to 500,000 Mexicans that fought on the front lines in World War II. I didn't ever read nothing about a Mexican fighting in a war when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I just think that a lot of American history is a lie by omission. They're omitting.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, and we could wrap it up after this. But the biggest thing is like when you're coming up as a kid, and obviously you don't want to put like this wild like stuff on like this 5-year-old like about murders and rapes and stuff 100%. Like that. But at the same time, you know, when we talk about when we grow up, you know, in school, and at least in California, I can't talk about any other state or whatever, but in California and Bakersfield, when you're growing up in elementary school, you're hearing about like Christopher Columbus discovering America.
Yeah, he's fucking rapist.
You know, like, and then they start to like sprinkle in like different things like Amerigo Vespucci and all these different things, and the Catholic missions and all these different things, and how there is, first we hear about Christopher Columbus, and then they kind of like leave it open-ended. Well, who really discovered America? Because Christopher Columbus came here, and then there was already people here, whatever the case may be. Then you start to kind of see, but even then, they're still not telling you like what's really happening. They're just kind of like having these open-ended questions. And even kind of going into high school, we talk about like government and different social studies and stuff like that. And we talk about like the Louisiana Purchase, all these huge like, you know, things that we all learn in social studies and history and stuff like that. But it's only what happens though is like from like in elementary school, and maybe it was because we had a lot of black students in my class, but in elementary school, like my 4th grade teacher would read these like stories. They were like short stories about black cowboys, right? But it's not part of the curriculum. She just read that to us because that's probably what she wanted to do, and she probably realized like, it's like 10 black kids in my class. Like we need to they need to have some sort of like representation in terms of like the literature that we're reading. And even like going to the black rodeo here in town and stuff like that. Like those are things that like are not orchestrated by the curriculum. It's not orchestrated by the state or the feds that people need to learn about, you know, other cultures. This is just stuff that like our school is doing just because they knew that the population was a certain way.
And there's a bunch of shit that goes like, it was the transatlantic slave trade, which was a horrific time. And it says a horrific chapter in human history involved in forced displacement of millions of African and Atlantic to the Americas between the 16th and 19th century, primarily for labor and plantation economies for the New World. Once that became illegal, the transatlantic slave trade, and this can all be researched, this is the very dark history of this country, they just started raping and creating more slaves that way. And there's a lot of descendants of, you know, slave owners. People don't realize this is a very dark ending of the podcast, but none of us in America have real names. So when people say things like, oh, well, you know, black people are complaining about this and that, we don't have real names. All of our names have been given to us by slave masters. Like the sad thing about black Americans is that our culture is based in a country that had us as property and raped us. So when you tell black people to be proud of where they live or get out, you might want to do a little more digging in history and actually understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Actually, like if you the more you do research on the country, I'm not saying to hate it. I love it here. However, you can't just a crime plus time is not a solution. You can't just tell people like, get over it. It happened so long ago. It's like, bro, you can't do that. Also, too, I'll close with this. When you see people doing certain things, I just feel bad for them because I know historically you don't have information. I seen somebody here in Bakersfield driving with a big Confederate flag with an American flag next to it, driving down the street. And
that don't make sense.
And I feel bad for him. And I feel bad for him because he's so fucking stupid. That's the most anti-American thing you could have. They seceded the U.S. They seceded the U.S. They fought against their own country. That is extremely not patriotic. But you so dumb, and you don't want to crack open a book, right? If you actually open a fucking book, it would wake you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? You know what's crazy? I think it's important for us to have conversations like this here and there, just based off the fact that if you're listening to this podcast just for what you want to hear, get lost.
Right.
This is not for you. Okay? And oftentimes me and Keith avoid certain topics. He's like, we don't want to oversaturate this podcast with racial conversations.
You know why this conversation is important, and this will be the last thing I say, is I'm not gonna say the more like the details.
Damn, this nigga had a stroke.
But there was a kid in my class, and there's a situation that happened, and I don't want to like be so specific because it's not. I haven't seen it on the news, so I don't want to make it like a thing. But there was a situation that happened on campus, and it was between the campus police officer and a young kid on campus, right? A young black male. And so I made I kind of started a conversation around it, like I created an assignment, like a quick response just to get a quick temperature check of how the kids were feeling about, the other students were feeling about it. Most of them thought like, most of them were on one side, but I overheard a young Mexican girl in my class. She said something along the lines of like, I just don't understand like why people are so up in arms about it. Like, is it just because it's between a white officer and a black kid? Like this isn't the 1920s anymore. And that's the reason why we need to have, the education, because if you were well researched in any of this, you can see the connection between all of this, right?
Right.
So you could see the parallels that happened in the 1920s or whatever, in what tends to happen today. The George Floyd situations and things like that. Like those things are not, they don't happen in a vacuum. These are things that are cyclical. Like the same situation that probably happened with those like. Those like slave police back in the day,
right,
is the same situation where, that's happening now. Or, we were watching Emmett Till, the Emmett Till movie in class. And, that same situation where these people are overly aggressive with these young black men, and they murdered Emmett Till. He's all swollen up, all in the casket.
People don't know who Emmett Till was. That's the scariest thing.
Yeah, a young man, and that's the conversation. Like these things there's parallels that you can draw on from 1955 to 2025, right? And these things happen over and over again. They just happen in slightly different ways. They happen in like more palatable ways. So what may have happened on campus is just like the 2025 version of what could have happened in 1955.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, man. I think that here's the thing that's crazy. I think that the more you tell, and this is unfortunate, but the more you put black history into textbooks, it would directly peel back the layers of a lot of the lies and the omitted history that we've put in these books. Mm-hmm. I think that the biggest issue with American history was written by the winners. Mm-hmm. We live in a time where we're basically telling people we're deporting people, they can't be here. I understand. I'm not going to get into the whole border thing. I just think it's crazy how a country that was not occupied fairly is being regulated. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that's wild. When you understand the America in its infancy and what it meant all the way to now, like you're creating walls. You're creating walls in a place called San Diego. Mm-hmm. You think that a place is called Los Angeles for no reason? Mm-hmm. Look, I'm going to just leave with this because we just keep running our mouths. I'm going to a Dodger game tomorrow. and I'm gonna give you like how nasty America was. I'm going to a Dodger game tomorrow, and we're home base. I believe I think it's third base or home base. It was a school it was a school that was in a Hispanic community. Chavez Ravine was a place where it was a Hispanic community that had been living there for a while. They occupied that space, and they got forcefully pushed out by the we'll say local government that booted them out and then put Dodger Stadium right there. And I'm going to a game tomorrow, and it used to be a school on fucking third base.
That's why I'm a Giants fan. Sounds like you supporting racism.
That's a good joke, man. That's a good one. Oh, man. Yeah, you feel kind of conflicted, man. The only reason why the Dodgers have a Mexican fan base is because of Fernando Valenzuela. That's it. Once Fernando came to the team, and he was from Mexico, that it started to create that fan base. But if Valenzuela had never came to the Dodgers, I don't know what that franchise would. That's why you notice they have like Latino heritage or Mexican heritage, and they got Dodger hats that's the Mexican flag and the colors. They ain't got no choice but to give it up because you kicked all the Mexicans out. It's fucked up, man. But there's that, man. Let's wrap it up. If you've been listening to this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to a Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Things.
We're out of here.
Peace.